Okay, today we're gonna try and make a game that's like the game called Crossy Road, which when I was a kid was a game called Frogger. And it was on the Atari, and I can remember playing it at my cousin John's house on his Atari. I don't remember which version of Atari he had. I never had an Atari though, guys. I had a Nintendo. All right, so here we go. We're going to learn how to do it. I'm going to go to scartch.mit.edu and I'm going to log in if I have an account, and if I don't, no problem. If you want an account, you can get your mom or dad to help you to sign up for one. And I'm going to say create. We'll get the cat to cross the road, but let's start by drawing a road. Sound good? So I'm going to click on my backdrops over here. I'm going to click on backdrops up here so that we can see the different ones, and then I'm going to use my painting tool. So we're going to do it with a whole bunch of rectangles, and Liam was really good yesterday. He taught us about how when we make rectangles, we got to click off certain rectangles in between. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, we're going to start with a dark gray. So I'm going to click on fill, and I'm going to drag my brightness this way and my saturation this way, and maybe find a dark-ish gray color. In the end, it doesn't matter a whole ton. I'm going to draw my rectangle out. I'm going to leave a little space at the top for a finish line, and I'm going to just draw that down like that and stretch my rectangle with the anchor points like that. So there's my dark gray. Then I'm going to do a light gray inside. So I'll just click back on fill. Actually, remember that tip from yesterday? Before you change your color, you want to click either another tool and then click back, or click the background. All right, the next thing we're going to do is inside this gray rectangle, we're going to paint a lighter one. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to just drag my brightness over this way so I get a lighter gray, and that'll be the most of the road. And then I'll draw my rectangle out here. I'm going to make it off the left and off the right so that the black lines don't show from the outline. Before I do finish line, let's do some lines on the road. So I'm going to drag my brightness slider almost all the way to the right, and then I'll get and draw some rectangles. All right, so I'm going to draw a few more of these rectangles just for the halfway mark on the road. It doesn't matter if they're perfect, it's fine. You can see mine's not perfect, and it doesn't matter that much. And the last thing I'm going to do is draw some grass up here. That's where my cat needs to get to be safe. So again, I'll click off the rectangle tool, click back on the rectangle tool. The reason we're doing that is if we don't do that, when we change our color up here, it'll change the color of the last thing we have clicked. I'm going to click here and go for some green grass. The safety on the other side. I'll maybe make that a little darker, and then I will just draw my rectangle up here. And remember, if your rectangle's not perfect, no big deal. You can use these anchor points to move it around. Okay. So the whole point of Crossy Road, or as I called it back in the day, Frogger, was you started at the bottom of the screen and you had to hop across to the other side of the road without getting hit. So what we're going to do now, we're going to click on our sprite, the cat. We're just going to leave the cat for today. I think that's fine. But if you wanted to paint it into a frog or like this chicken guy or whatever you wanted, that's fine too. Be as creative as you want, but we're just going to focus on the coding. So I've clicked my sprite. I'm going to click here on code. And the first thing we want to do is we want to be able to move our cat back and forth using the arrows. So how do I do that, Quinn? If I want to move my cat up and down and left and right using my arrows, how do I do it?
You want to go first on the event and do the... You need one space clip.
Okay. And I'm going to drop it here. I like to create, when I'm creating arrows, I like to create them in the same configuration as they'll be on my computer. So I'm going to say, when up arrow is pressed, we want to have our guy point in direction 0. So I'm going to go under motion and say point in direction, and I'm going to click there and say 0. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other key presses too. So I'm going to say events. I'm going to say when space key is pressed. I'm going to do the right arrow, and I'm going to say motion, point in direction, and it's 90 for the right arrow, but you can always check by clicking here and double checking. Back to events, when space key pressed. We'll change that one to a down arrow, and we'll say motion, point in direction, click and say down, and then back to events, when the space key pressed, point in direction, and we'll change that one to a left arrow, and let's drag it over here to minus 90 degrees.
Done.
Okay, so far when you tap your arrows, your cat kind of changes the way that it's facing. So we're gonna add a car. We drew a car yesterday, but maybe we can just find a car in our sprite chooser. So I'm gonna hover down over here, and I'm gonna say choose a sprite by pushing the little cat with the plus. And I'm just gonna type car in here. You could look for a car, or a truck, or a convertible, or a shark. It doesn't even matter.
Can I use different items?
Let's just choose one item for now. Choose the one you like, and then you can make it more complicated later. I'm gonna add a food truck.
I'm gonna do a shark.
I'm gonna drag my food truck up here and my cat down here just for now.
I'm gonna move my shark up here and my cat down here.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is click on my truck, and we're gonna do some code for the truck. We're gonna get our truck to move back and forth forever. It's gonna be pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, events.
One flag click.
When flag is clicked. The first thing we were gonna do is we're gonna shrink it down. So I'm gonna go under looks, and for me, my truck is too big. So I'm gonna say set size. If you're happy with whatever item you have on your screen, that's cool, but I'm gonna make my truck 40%. So let's push flag and see if it looks good. Okay, I'm also gonna set the starting position of it. So I'm gonna go under motion, and I'm gonna say, go to XY, and I think I want it over here. So you can see when I drag my truck around, my X and Y coordinates change down here. So I'll set my X coordinate to minus 186, and my Y coordinates to 120. All right, then we're gonna get into a loop. Now, yesterday we learned about a new type of loop. Do you remember what that new type of loop was called, guys?
Repeat until.
Repeat until. I'm gonna go controls. So we're gonna have this repeat something until something else happens. So I'll grab my repeat until block. A repeat until is a loop that goes forever, but it has a sort of a built-in if check. Okay, so we're gonna have it repeat until it's touching the cat. So where do I find that? How do I detect if it's touching the cat? I go on sensing, and I'm gonna say if touching, and it says mouse pointer right now, but I'm gonna click that and change it to sprite 1, which is our cat. Repeat until touching sprite 1. And I'm gonna have it, I'm gonna go into motion. I'm gonna say move 10 steps. And maybe we'll change that number to 3 for now. We can change all these numbers later to make sure everything works. And we're gonna say it's gonna move 3 steps, and it's gonna repeat that unless it's touching the cat. And the other thing we're gonna say is we're gonna go into motion, and we're gonna say if on edge, where is it? I think that's in motion. If on edge, bounce, and we're gonna drop that in there too. So let's see how that works. I push my flag, there goes my truck. When it hits the edge, it's gonna bounce. And look at that, we got an upside down truck coming back. Isn't that funny?
So I want to see Dad, look at my shark. But it kind of makes sense for a shark because a shark can swim anywhere.
Yeah. So I'm gonna set my rotation style to left right, and I'm gonna drop that up here into my.
And that's in motion.
Yeah, that's in motion. Thanks, good catch. I think, and I'm gonna stop it, and then I'm gonna push my flag and see if this corrects the problem. Let's find out. Boom! We did it. Okay, so we set our rotation to style to left, right, and now my car drives back and forth. That's perfect. Okay, so what we're gonna have it do is whenever our truck hits a cat, it's gonna announce to the whole game.
Game over.
Well, it's gonna send a message to every other piece of code in our program that it's hit the cat. And there's something in there called, I think it's under controls, and it's called a broadcast. Let me see. Oh no, it's an event. I'm sorry. So it's going to broadcast a message. So right now,
message one and wait, or
we're going to change message one. We're going to call it, we're going to say new message. We're going to say hit. So in computer programming, each object, it has all its own information, and it doesn't usually share that information with other objects. And that's about object security. And so sometimes we need one object to talk to the other, and that's why in Scratch we have this broadcast message. So it's going to broadcast the message hit when it hits the cat. Now, if I just drag my cat up here and it hits it, it's going to stop the truck, and it's going to broadcast the message hit, but we don't see that. So it's our job now. If you try dragging your cat up in the path there, you'll see what I mean. We're going to go back to our cat now, and we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to move my cat back down here. I'm going to push stop and start again so I get my truck moving. So right now, when we use our arrow keys, our cat kind of flips around, moves in different directions here, points in different directions. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to go under when flag pressed. We're going to set a few initial conditions for our cat here. So right now, I think my cat's a little big. Oops, so in my code, under looks, I'm going to change its size, and I'm going to say 50%. Let's push the flag, see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks good. Under motion, rather. We're going to set the rotation style to left, right for this guy too. So let's push our flag, and now left and right, you can see our cat moves left and right without turning upside down.
My cat doesn't go down anymore now.
Yeah, that's okay. And I'll show you why. Because now we're going to build another loop. We're going to set, actually before we do that though, we're going to get our cat to its starting position. So go to, and mine's X is minus 27 and Y is minus 114. You can play around with those numbers. You can just drag your cat around here until you find a nice starting position. Maybe I like this starting position of X is 4. I'm going to actually make X 0, and I'm going to make Y minus 155. That's going to be my starting position. Whenever, if our cat loses the game, we kind of want him to move back to the start, right?
Yeah.
So that means like set his size, set his rotation, go back to initial positions and stuff. That's sort of our start initial condition. So what did we do last time? If we get hit by the truck, we're going to want to move him back here so someone can try again, right? So what did we do last time so that when that happens, I don't have to repeat all this stuff?
Oh, we made the pirate boat treasure one.
Mm-hmm.
And the mousetrap one.
Yeah, so what did we do?
Oh, we made our own block?
We made our own block. So we're going to make our own block again, move our cat, and we're going to call it start, just like last time. Okay? Okay, so that way, if we have to go back to the initial conditions of the game, we can use our own start block, and we don't have to just duplicate and rewrite all the code. That's what smart computer programmers do. And you guys are smart computer programmers. So all I'm going to do after I write start is I'm going to pick this stuff up and drop it from my when flag is pressed to over here. We're defining our start, and then I'm going to pick up the start block from here and do that. So whenever we push the flag, it boom moves our cat to the right size and drops him right over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gonna get eaten.
So here we go. We're going to go under our control, and we're going to say repeat until. I'm going to pick up my repeat until block and drop it here under my start block. Okay, and we're going to say this. We're going to say repeat until. We're going to repeat letting our cat sort of move until it touches the green, because that means it's safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say repeat until touching the color green. So I go under sensing
Touching color.
is touching color, drop it in there, and then click and use our fancy sword, also known as a dropper, to click on the green color. So there we go. So we're going to repeat until touching the color green. And we're going to go back into motion, and we're going to make him take a few steps. So I'm going to say motion, move, and I'm going to do, let's try 3 steps. Okay, so let's just see if this works. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to push stop.
And
I'm going to push start. And now,
my cat doesn't stop moving.
I know, he keeps on moving. So it's a little different than Crossy Road. Oh, get out of the way of the truck.
I can't go any. Oh, duh.
There we go.
I died.
Whoa. Okay.
I got on the green, but also I got hit by the shark.
Love it. Okay, so I hit the green and good. We're good. All right.
But when we hit the shark, it doesn't start us back over.
The other thing we're going to do is our cat has 2 costumes. So I'm going to go under looks and we're going to make him move his feet. I'm just going to say next costume and I'll drop that right under my 3 steps. So I'm going to start my game over. Look at him move his legs.
Oh.
It's going to repeat this until it touches the green color. And then if he does touch the green color, he's going to say,
He looks ridiculous.
you win.
Dad, look at him. He looks ridiculous. I win.
He does. And let's make a sound. So I'm going to go under sound and we'll say play sound and I'll drop that in here. And let's say meow. So he'll meow when he gets to the other side. You guys ready? Here we go. Oh my gosh. Stay away from the truck. Stay away from the truck. Oh my gosh. Whoa. That is a happy cat.
I didn't see. Oh.
It went me.
Meow. So he got to the other side. He meowed with joy. All right. So now we need to build some code for when he gets hit by the truck. Okay. I'm going to go down here under events and we're going to receive that message that he's been hit by the truck. So when I receive hit, and we're going to say, when I receive hit, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go under looks and we'll say,
You lose.
oh no, or you lose, doesn't matter.
I'm going to write game over.
Game over, okay. And then we're going to start the whole game over again. So I'll go to start and we'll start the game over again. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So let's push our flag. Let's get him hit by the car. Oh no! And he starts again.
My thing, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, he kind of stops. He doesn't stop moving, eh? So
Yeah, and then it just goes to you win.
That's interesting. So I think we need to do, we'll say this. So there's a stop block down here. We can get him to stop the other parts of the script by dragging that and dropping it here. Boom. Interesting. I think we need to have him stop first and then.
Daddy, mine works.
Okay, cool.
It says look, I go down, I go here, and then I hit the shark, and it says ha ha ha. Like
there we go. Oh no! There we go. And then it moves him back to the start. I need to make one more my block because the game doesn't start over again. It lets me still move the cat left and right. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a second my block, and it's going to be for the motion. This stuff right in here. Okay? Are you ready to do it? So we're going to pull this off. I'm going to go into my blocks, and I'm going to create another block, and I'm going to just call this one motion. M-O-T-I-O-N. Okay, and I'll
then you put it under this.
And so motion is this. Okay? And then all I need to do is when I push my flag, I need to start, and then I need to go to my function, motion. So over here, when I get hit by the car, I'm going to stop other scripts. I'm going to say, oh no, for 2 seconds. I'm going to go to my start over, and then motion starts all over again. So when we push flag and we get hit by a car, it says, oh no, goes back to the start, and starts again.
The car doesn't start driving.
The car doesn't start again. That's a good point. So we need to go back here to the truck, and we want it to start over again.
We'll need to make a block, a start block.
Yeah, we'll need a my block for this one. So let's
Start done. Define start. Wouldn't you have to put that there now?
Yep. So let's say
and then
start.
Put a start block under.
So we have got a start block going now for our thing. We can literally move all this stuff over here. And we'll say.
This isn't working.
Okay, but we're not thinking it through. So we just need to say define start. We'll do all this stuff. And then we'll say control. Let's wait for a few seconds.
Wait 3 seconds.
And then let's start again. So see, we're actually calling the function itself. So now let's try it. So we made a start block under our truck. Then we did all this stuff, and then we started over again. So it waits 3 seconds, puts our cot back down, and then after 3 seconds, our truck starts going again. Does that make sense? We're going to change the start state of our truck. Sound good? So I'm going to push stop here. I'm going to make my truck start lower. So I'm going to change my Y. Let's try 90. And I'll push my flag.
-90? Or just normal 90?
Just normal 90. You just play around with you just stop and start playing with the numbers and see, move your truck wherever you think is best, okay? Boom, I win. So then I might want one more truck. So I'm going to duplicate this truck, okay? I'm going to start by giving this truck a different costume. So I'll go under costumes. Let's see, we got a waffle truck, we got a taco truck, and a hot dog truck. Cool. So I'll go under code. I'm going to say looks, and I'll just say switch costume to, and I'm going to pick a different food truck for it. And I'm also going to pick a different starting position. So I'll start this truck.
Dada, that's the exact same food truck.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, but no, I haven't pushed the flag yet, see? So I'm going to start this food truck over here, which is at X is at 119 or 122. And Y is at -82. Okay, so now when I start everything up, I have 2 trucks, making my cat's life even harder and more difficult. You win!
Like and subscribe to our video to see more.